And Beckham saw Sullivan off his line. Oh!
This is a private member's bar.
That is absolutely phenomenal.
Exclusively for the supporters of the greatest football team in the world.
Cleared, Giggs with a shot. Sheringham!
Manchester United.
Beckham into Sheringham. And Solskjaer has won it!
New season, same injury problems. United lose their second match of the preseason. And it might not be the Dutch delight with De Ligt. Afternoon delight. I don't know why that drop just dropped in my head there, D. All right, sidetrack. You see my mind's all over the place, and we're not even 30 seconds in. Welcome to the Biggie and Smalls podcast. I'm Keith Ippolito, my partner in crime, D. How you doing, my man? Not much. In Atlanta, it's been pretty rainy all week, so I guess that's was indicative of the injury situation that continues to plague this team. Let's kick it right out the bat. I mean, Jesus. We bring in basically Yoro, and seems like it's not good. And Hojlund with a possible hamstring or whatever. I mean, all right. I think I read somewhere we had 66 injuries last year. We're already at 2. Let's start the clock or the counter.
His debut against Rangers, and he seemed to do well. He looked like it looked exactly what all United fans were hoping he was going to look like. Comfortable in the ball, commanding. Showed a good turn of pace, and then obviously he got to play against Arsenal in his second match in United colours. But then, as we all know, after 33 minutes, he had a specific injury that literally, he seemed a little. I wouldn't say a little. He actually seemed very distraught about it, and as we talked,
who was it? Can't remember the
Hannibal.
Arsenal play. Because I French player, so it seemed like he was consoling him or whatever. Native French speaker or whatever. So I mean, it looks concerning to say the least, and that's putting it politely.
Yeah, Hannibal went over to try to console him, and then as we talked about offline, one of the I don't know which member of the staff, the coaching staff or the staff in general, yelled, had a big audible not safe for work word.
Yeah, it was a certain 4-letter word, and I think it started with F.
Yeah, and it rhymes with duck. So we'll leave it at that. Just in case there's some youngsters listening. But no, and then we have the good old Hojlund after scoring the good goal that he did. He showed a good turn of pace, some strength, and good finish as well. But then he comes off as well, injured. So, like you said, we're going to have to start the counter now in pre-season. It's not even August yet, and we're already down 2 potential starters before, like you mentioned, before even Community Shield. We don't even know if we're even going to have a full-strength squad for the Community Shield.
I mean, honestly, I would not expect it. I mean, out of the two, I mean, it seems like Hojlund has the best shot of coming back the quickest, but I feel like the Community Shield's 2 weeks away, I believe. I mean, hamstring injury, I mean, you just never know how that's gonna, play out. And to be 100% honest, not that I don't want to win the community or the Charity Shield, is that I think if he's not 100%, I don't want him playing in that. I'd rather have him be 100% for the start for the season, and everything else. That's just my personal opinion on that.
No, I agree with that. Like is it a match? Is it a good Kickstarter for the season? No, you always see the stat that the team that wins the Charity Shield or Community Shield goes on to win the Premiership. But again, I don't know if United. I'm hoping United's going to be up there challenging, but I want to be completely realistic as possible. That I don't think they're going to be up there yet, but you never know. We'll see what happens with that. But the one thing I thought was very interesting was after the match, Ten Hag came out and said that he is concerned that Lenny Yoro might be out for a considerable amount of time with the injury, and it looks muscular, but we don't even know what it does now. We know Hojlund's is a hamstring. Hojlund seemed to be able to get up and walk off, with very very little resistance.
Yeah, I know he did. So I mean, that's encouraging, but
Yoro seemed to be a little bit more delicate, if you will, when he was getting up. And then the one stat that really annoys me was that €1 is only 18, but they said before joining United, he only missed 6 days of training through injury at his
Yeah.
So it's like I don't know what's going on. He's only been at United for 2 weeks, and he's already missed a sixth.
I
of the amount
know.
of
It's
training.
like, what the hell is going on here? It's like, and that was like we first started talking. It was like, especially the Rangers match, I was like, wow, this is, really impressive because obviously I'm sure you're the same. It's not like I'm watching League One games regularly. So, I mean, I had seen him play, but, when you're able to actually, watch a full 90 minutes and see the whole thing, like, he's really impressive. I was really excited. I think he could, be an integral part of the team, but geez, it's like one of our first major signings already gone. So, okay. All right.
Yeah. Yep. So, and well, speaking of that too, like with major signings, I know that this sort of transitions into the next point we're going to talk about was a good old what is going on with Brentworth and Everton? Like right now,
Man, I don't know, man. I feel like that's like trying to figure out or solve a Rubik's Cube, at least for me.
well, as a United fan, like it wouldn't be a summer transfer window without a very dragged,
Yes.
prolonged transfer.
Yeah.
Like we've
Yeah.
had it every single season. Like
Yeah,
Sancho
we've had, fax machines, we've had drawn out, it wouldn't be something without some kind of drama in the transfer window.
Exactly. So, this is another one it's gonna be put on the long list of drawn out transfer sagas that we're gonna have. But from all the reports are saying is United still have him at the top of the list for their defensive transfer target. Like they have Delit as earmarked as well.
Yeah.
And I don't know what exactly. I think Ten Hag may be trying to fortify the team in terms of like squad depth. Because of the fact that like United had to play Casemiro and centre back last season, so I think he's got like Maguire, Evans, Lindelof, then he's got Euro, who's now injured, and then with Varane leaving, I think he's looking to bring in maybe one or two more players, so he has at least 4 to 5 centre backs that quality centre backs he can play on.
Yeah.
But from what I'm reading, that Everton aren't interested whatsoever in selling them for cheap. They're looking for that Harry Maguire.
Yeah, they seem stuck on this 75 million price tag, and I don't know. I mean, I know they have some rumors about his potential replacement, but yeah, they're definitely playing stubborn, or they're being very stubborn.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, like, from what I've heard, as well as that, like, well, they're supposedly in talks. It's actually gonna happen. I haven't seen anything from good old Fabrizio, but from what I've heard now is that they're going to sign this 6'6" giant from Lyon. It was a Jake O'Brien for about 15 to 20 million. I think they're going to get him for. So is he going to come in to be, Branthwaite's replacement, or is he going to be? From what I'm reading too, that he might actually be trying to use him as a sort of almost like a bargaining chip to convince Branthwaite to stay. To say, hey, that's going to be our partner.
Yeah, I mean that very well could be what they're trying to do. I mean, because by all accounts, it doesn't seem like he is intending to sign an extension. So,
nah.
I mean, if you're Everton, I mean, you could be, stuck on your price tag or whatever. But if he's not coming back, that's a gamble that he might walk away and they might not get hardly anything, or get nothing at all.
Exactly. So yeah, like Sean Dyche is obviously like he just looking at him and listening to his voice, he's definitely the best personification of Everton right now. But we'll see with Branthwaite. Like from what I've heard, is he has no intent. They want to tie him down to another, like I think they want to put another 3 years on his contract. I think his contract's up in like July 2027. But what I'm hearing is that he's not willing to sign the contract, but there's a big unless Everton, he's not expecting Everton to match the wages that United are reportedly offering him, but he just wants to sort of see him get within that sort of that area.
In that area, yeah.
And then that will, that'll convince them saying, listen, you want me just as bad as United do, so I'll be willing to stay. Like at the end of the day, everyone's going to turn around and say, where's the loyalty in football? That loyalty in football went out the window a long time ago. Right now, it's a business. It's a money making business.
Yeah, I mean, it's honestly, it's always been a business. I mean, as fans, of course, you never want to see your favorite players go, or even go to arch rivals or whatever. But yeah, I mean, it's 100% is a business, and I putting myself in their shoes, the owners, the people at the top, they would drop them in a blink of an eye. So I mean, at the same, they only have a period of, say, if their career is 10, 15 years, they've got to maximize that 10 or 15 years to where they can get the most money. And I'll never fault a player for doing that.
No, exactly. Like I think the only time I'll ever fault a player is if somebody like Neymar, like if somebody's in his prime, decides to go to like Saudi Arabia.
Oh, yeah.
Nah, I can understand, but I know that's money. But yeah, with this transfer, it's just another one that's just going to be dragged out. Now, do I think United are going to get him? And like the one thing that United need to use as the biggest obstacle is going to be the price tag. But United need to just turn around and say, listen, we paid 80 million for Maguire because Maguire was like
he was
exactly when United signed him. So
yeah.
He played well. He deservedly was able to get that big price tag. Now, Branthwaite didn't even make the England squad. So,
yeah, honestly, if I was United, I'd be like, this is where we're at. I mean, and it sounds like there's other options that are potentially on the table. I was reading about, what's that Moroccan kid at Bayern Munich that they're interested in, and
well,
this kind of made me chuckle, is that supposedly he is excuse me, he would be a great compliment to Anthony, and he would turn into the star he was at Ajax. I'll believe that when I see Jesus Christ walk on water.
I don't even know what even to say about that. I don't think anything can compliment Anthony at this point. But yeah, from what I've heard is that United is actually, they agreed terms with them, personal terms again. It's is it Nusair Marawasi, or is it
Marawasi?
No,
I believe, or
is it Mazraoui? You're thinking?
I know he's Moroccan.
Yeah, so I'm butchering his name, and but I know it's a Mazraoui.
Yeah.
He played for Ten Hag at Ajax, and I'll say that, but at the same time, I don't know if so far the only player that's actually came over from Ajax that actually is worth this price tag and everything else has been good old Licha. Licha's been unbelievable. So like I know I mentioned earlier, like there's 5 centre backs you now have. Like there's Hojlund, Maguire, Evans, Euro. But I didn't mention Licha because Licha's he's going to be starting left centre back. It's up to the rest of them now to prove to Ten Hag that they can actually be the right centre back to be his partner.
Yeah, exactly.
Leach is too good. Like he's another player that I could earmark. I know we mentioned in a previous podcast about Kobe Mainoo being captain, but Leach could easily be captain as well. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens with the Branthwaite. Like, am I going to be upset that it didn't sign him? Nah, but
yeah, I'm kind of with you on that. Like, sure, would I love to bring him in, but I'm not sure I would want to pay $75 million for him.
Yeah, exactly. Like is he good? Is he good? I think he's a great player. He pops up with the odd goal for Everton here and there, and he does look a solid player when he does play. But at the same time, like, is he worth? No, United, the Ineos group is trying to get away from this whole playing way overinflated transfer fees. If they go in there and pay 75, 80, 85 for Branthwaite, they're repeating.
They're just going back to the same old policy, basically.
They're going back to the
and teams will see that, and they'll be like, oh, all right, well, all right, new owners, but it's business as usual at United.
Yeah, exactly. And there was I don't know if it's even true. This is another. I heard that there was a young Brazilian that a lot of the European teams are looking into, and I suppose the United sort of put a little bit of interest in him, and all of a sudden, like, the kid's transfer fee tripled. And it's only because Manchester United got involved.
Yeah.
That's what they're all saying. I think a lot of the source that's probably from like the Sun or something. So
I feel that could probably be the family member or an agent or whatever trying to boost that tag up.
Well, exactly. And then I think this is going to be the first season now that Ten Hag again has been backed by the club in terms of purchasing players and getting players in. So now it's up to him and the coaching staff to really get the best out of the players that they brought on, to get the best out of the players that they have at the club.
Yeah,
and he's definitely one that's has an asterisk of, like, if he's not gone, from what I've read too, Anthony Besiktas is supposed to be coming in for him. They posted.
I would be surprised to see him back. It seems like there is genuine interest at several teams. So yeah, I'd be surprised to see him back. I would be kind of surprised to see. Well, I don't know. I was gonna say Sancho. I don't expect him back because I was listening to a podcast and I started scrolling through United Social and he's not featured on it very much. So they must be not planning to have him be a part of this season.
As I said, I think that, like,
which I'm totally fine with.
Yeah, same here. I think when we talked about it previously, I think Ten Hag coming out saying, they put the past behind him and all that kind of stuff. I think that was just to sort of ensure that United get the best possible price for him, because if they were, like I said, if they were to come out and say Ten Hag doesn't want them, teams are going to come in and be offering.
Yeah, because they know they're going to be desperate to offload him just because they don't want to deal with any crap in the locker room.
So instead of the 30, 35 million that I'm seeing, even sometimes there's 40 being rumored for him. Teams, if they hear that he's still disgruntled, Ten Hag doesn't get along with him, he's causing low chaos in the change room, in the locker room. He's going to come in and offer 10, 15 for him, because they're just going to say, listen, let us take him off your hands and
let him off. Yeah, exactly. Let us deal with it and see if we can resurrect his career.
Yeah. So the thing here is that if Anthony does leave and goes to Besiktas, I think Sancho stays. But I think if Sancho leaves, I think Anthony stays, because I think it's about.
Yeah, that would be hard to have both leave, and then because realistically, I don't see us bringing in another player, and transfer window closes in a little over a month. I mean, sure, is it possible? But I don't think it's realistic.
Yeah, exactly, especially with wingers, and and this is something, another point we wanted to talk about with Van Nistelrooy coming in. There's a whole new coaching staff, but one of the guys that's really, that we all know as United fans, is Ruud van Nistelrooy. And you and I talked a few times about this in offline, and we were talking about he's very hands on with the team, and he's very hands on in the attacking sense.
Yeah.
In a sense where this is where we talk about where I think that I don't think Anthony and Sancho I don't think both will leave, because Van Nistelrooy is trying to implement this new. We all know as United fans, we watch them, but Van Nistelrooy is trying to introduce. This, it says new, but it's the old way United playing, that the wingers staying the marauding overlapping left and right back.
Stuff that we basically what we were used to watching, basing our whole life basically.
Exactly. So he's trying to get back to that. So, and that's honestly, I remember we talked about it before, that I think Van Nistelrooy scored maybe one goal outside the box. So he's the fox in the box mentality. So I think he's trying to really encourage the wingers and the playmakers of the Brunos of the team, the Ericssons of the team, the Mason Mounts, to really start understanding that teams are going to set up low blocks and get very congested in the midfield, because they're going to try to stifle United's attack and then set themselves up for a counter attack. So the best way to break down a team is to get wide, to stretch them out. Because
stretch them out, and exactly. I mean, God Almighty, just think back to the teams of the past. We'd always had great wing play. I can even remember, whether it was Beckham, Giggs, Ronaldo, but even just those overlap runs from the wing backs or whatever. We always had teams like that, and that's obviously has been missing for some time with us.
No, exactly, because with Beckham and Beckham right there, you had Gary Neville overlapping him.
Yeah, Gary Neville. Patrice Evra
on the left side. Dennis Even Ashley Young at one stage.
Yeah, Ashley Young for a time. Yeah.
Antonio Valencia, who used to be a right winger, Ashley Young used to be a winger, and they both converted into left back and right backs. They were always getting forward. It created a different dynamic for United to get forward. So, yeah, what I've read and what I've seen, and read reports about it, that Van Nistelrooy is really trying to drive it into the team about not only trusting one another, but really understanding that. I think the United's trying to get away from this stupid say it wide and then cutting back in on, for example, Anthony. Everybody and their granny knows Stevie Wonder can see what Anthony's going to do before he gets the ball. He knows he's going to go down the wing and he's going to come back in that left foot. He's either going to try to cross it or he's going to try to keep going inside and have a shot. So at that point, with teams setting themselves up so congested and they have that low block that's literally almost inside their own box, and they have another block in front of the midfield.
Yeah.
Hojlund's not going to get any service when somebody like an Alan Shearer said it perfectly. Like, was it earlier last season when he said that Anthony playing with Anthony would drive him absolutely nuts, because by the time you're making a run, by the time you're sitting trying to find the space, you're looking over there and his head's down, and all he's too busy doing trying to do tricks or trying to beat the defender with the same thing.
It's over by then. Yeah, it's over.
Yeah, and you have to keep recycling your run, and by the time you recycle your run, it's also allowing your opponents to defensively get their entire shape set. And by then, it's like Hojlund's up against 2 or 3 defenders and the box.
Instead of having like a 1v1 or whatever, like you just said, the box is just congested, and it
Yeah. So with the new, there's been a lot of changes with the coaching staff, as you and I talked about earlier. You have Van Nistelrooy coming in, and then they have a couple of set pieces.
But, plus, not only, just the, excited about the shift in tactics and all that. It's, I guess, even just from a nostalgic standpoint, I mean, it's pretty cool to see him back there again. Because from everything I was reading or whatever, it's not like he did not have opportunities to be a full-time or a manager at other teams. So he obviously wanted to. He obviously wanted to come.
No, definitely. I think Burnley was really interested in him to replace Vincent Kompany. And they ended up turning him down. Came to United. I think the pull of Man United was just too good for him. So it's great to have him back. I think he'll do wonders for the likes of Hojlund. And I don't know where Xerxes. I don't know if they're going to play Xerxes wide or they're going to put him up top. I'm not too sure. I haven't really.
Well, I mean, it'll be interesting. What the lineup looks like, or the starting 11 looks like, and the Charity Shield match, because I mean, I'm assuming Hojlund's not going to be there. I mean, obviously, if he's fully fit and healthy or whatever, he's definitely starting. So I'm curious what it'll be.
Yeah, same here. So I'm just curious where they're going to fit him on, just because they have, like I said, we mentioned the likes of Anthony and Sancho still there. You have Rashford, Garnacho, Hamad. That's three that's played pivotal roles last year. Well, 2 at least, Garnacho and Hamad.
Yeah.
Especially against Liverpool in the quarterfinal. But I think right now, we mentioned it earlier, that I think Ten Hag is just so scared of getting back to that whole problem of like not having all players fit.
Yeah.
So, which sort of transition does it?
Yeah, I was going to say, you mentioned something about trying to carry 4 players at each position. I mean, in today's game, that's really hard, if not impossible, to do that,
Not exactly.
Like you think of the old Uniteds as like, especially the 90s teams, like, just in the forward position, it's like they had probably like 4 bona fide starters on just about any team that they could just pull off the bench, Like, that's pretty difficult to do in today's game.
Yeah. Well, all you have to do is look back at the 2 teams that won the Champions League under Ferguson. Both times he had 4 forwards. In 1999, he had Cole, York, Sheringham, Solskjaer. 2008, he had Rooney, Tevez, Berbatov, Ronaldo.
Yep.
So that's 4 players, but like the thing is that Ferguson was great. That was man management, and the biggest problem I think Ten Hag might be getting hit with if you keep buying players and really creating this. I wouldn't say creating animosity between players. I don't want to say that because team morale's high enough for that, and they're all professionals. But his number, not only does he have to get the tactics right here, but he's also his man management's got to have to be spot on, because there's going to be too many players. They're going to want to sit and play every match. And with the amount of players in the squad that we're bringing in, that's not going to happen. Like right now, you hear all these transfer rumors, and every time you hear a transfer rumor, you see right next to it said, but it's only going to happen if United sell 1 to 2 players. Like,
they have to sell. They have to sell somebody.
Yeah, exactly. So like like you mentioned there, the Moroccan right back from Bayern, he's agreed personal terms with United earlier today, but from what I've heard is that they can only bring him in if Armand Saka leaves.
Yeah, so, I think they're trying to get 15 million for him, or something along those lines. But exactly. I mean, it's contingent on him leaving or another player going.
Yeah. So I've heard that West Ham will be in for Wan-Bissaka, and Crystal Palace are interested in maybe even bringing him back as well. They did that with Zaha, with Wilfried Zaha, so
Yeah.
no reason why they can't do it with Wan-Bissaka. But yeah, with the injuries that we went through last year, like you mentioned, there are 66 injuries. I read an article earlier with our good old a former guest of ours, the senior reporter from the Manchester Evening News, Samuel Luckhurst, and he has a theory that, and I definitely agree with it, that the theory is that United's continuance to completely overlook the position of a new fitness coach into the first team is maybe the reason why there's constant injury problems. Like it's the same fitness coach that's been there since Solskjaer.
Yeah. I mean, it's insane that, basically we went through this whole review process at the end of the season with Ineos, and, I'm hoping they looked at this, and if they didn't, then they need to have their freaking head examined, because something needs to change. I read the same article as well, and he wasn't even calling to sack him or fire him or whatever you want to call it. He was saying maybe another person with a different opinion where they could both collaborate and look at this and say, what are we doing? Why is this happening? And assess the situation, which I totally agree with, because whatever we're doing is not working.
No, exactly. And that's what I meant. Like we both were talking about. He's trying to get a lot of players into certain positions, but is Ten Hag learning from his previous mistakes of, not having squad depth? I think yes, but is he learning from the mistakes of not literally addressing the elephant in the room, which is there's something wrong with the training technique.
Yeah, you gotta fix the root of the issue first.
Hey,
sure,
exactly.
Squad depth is very important, but you got to fix the root of the cause. I mean, injuries are always going to happen, but 66 last year, that's excessive. That's insane.
And like you said, we're not even at the end of July. We're already too deep of 2%.
Yeah, honestly, I'm at the point, I'm all for the players, obviously, and they need to get match fit and all that sort of stuff, but it's I'll almost be just bring up the reserve, the youth academy, and let them play. I just want to get through this preseason injury free and unscathed.
Yeah, exactly. But so I don't know what's going on. It's definitely something that, and you and I talked offline about this. The Ineos group, when they came in and did the season review with Ten Hag, they used the high injury list, the high number of injuries on as a reason why, one of the reasons why they decided to keep him at the club, saying that they want to put him in a position to succeed, and having 66 injuries in a calendar season is not, or sorry, a full season, not calendar, but full season, doesn't really allow him to really project what his philosophy is, what his tactics is going to be. And right now we're back to the same thing. So it's it's the whole, let's just see what happens. Let's not change anything and see if something changes. I mean, it's that whole people say sometimes the definition of insanity is trying to say
exactly. Yeah, basically, so, they're trying to solve or fix everything else, but not going to the root of the issue. I don't know. Maybe they'll look at something before the start of the season. I mean, probably too late at this point to probably do it, but I mean, God almighty. I just hope that this is not indicative of how the rest of the season's going to go. I'm praying, man.
Same here, but like I said, we talked in a few podcasts back. We talked about how United brought in Gary O'Driscoll to be the head of sports science at United. He brought him in from Arsenal. He was at Arsenal, for a long time, for 13, 14 years, and they brought him on, and he was getting some of the flack. And I actually said that that he might have something to do with it, because they approved for Shaw to come back early, and then we talked about Shaw came out and did his interview before the Euros, saying, "Hey,
yep,
I wasn't 100% fit, but they almost sort of told me I have to play, and I didn't want it, and then I re-aggravated it." Same with Licha. Licha came back a little bit, re-aggravated injury. He was out for a few more weeks, almost a few months. But I think by the time it gets to O'Driscoll's team, which is the doctors, the medical team, the sports science, by the time the damage has already been done, the injuries already occurred. So their job's to fix the injury.
Yeah,
it's the fitness coaches like it's
Yeah,
the
they
fitness coaches
gotta know when
prevent them
to
from happening.
exactly say, okay, maybe we are pushing you too hard, or we need to, lighten up a little bit. Because I mean, you definitely do need recovery time. Just for us, I mean, we're obviously we're not professional athletes, but you go to the gym 4 or 5 days a week, and so you need that 1 or 2 days off to rest your muscles or whatever. So yeah, I mean, if the training sessions, of course you needed intense to learn or whatever, but maybe they should have a day rest or something. I don't know, man. They need to look at everything, because whatever they're doing isn't working.
No, no, yeah, 100%. But I think one of the things that, and no, Jurgen Klopp said it, Pep Guardiola said it, a lot of the continental managers that came in from Europe, they came in and they're used to having a winter break. Now, the Premier League introduced a somewhat of a winter break this past year.
Yeah.
They blamed that for the high injuries. But I think at this point, the game's evolving at such a high pace that that almost every player needs to have pace and needs to have this physique, that the fast twitch muscles and everything else, all the different like physiological kind of stuff that they need to be able to compete at the highest level. And I think what's going on is the game's evolving. I think some of these fitness coaches and some of the medical teams around them, I don't think they're evolving. I think they're still basing on the stuff that they were doing, late 90s, mid 2000s.
Yeah, 15, 20 years ago. Yeah, which that very well could be a case. I mean, I don't know that. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I know that, but yeah, I mean, they might not be still, or they might still be doing old shit that's 20 years old.
Yeah, I don't know. I just know that. No, I agree with it. I agree somewhat with Sam's article when he mentioned that it's just it's the glaring change that everyone talked about needed to happen, and it's the one change they've changed.
Yeah, it's the one thing that didn't happen. Yeah.
They've changed goalkeeper coaches. They brought in new first team coaches. They brought in a set piece coach. They brought in
all these new coaches, everything.
Yeah. And the one thing that has been a constant has been the same fitness coach. Now, do I want him tarred and feathered in public square for what's going on? No, I don't want that. But what I would love to know what analytics, what kind of reviews are they doing with the club in terms of like, okay, no, they had to have sat down and said, guys,
yeah, there's no way that wasn't brought. Yeah, there's no way that wasn't brought up in the end of season review. There's just no way.
Injuries. There's 66 injuries. Now, if it would have been 68, I would have been happy with that, because that would have been 1968. It would have been a good remembrance for the European Cup final. United won 4-1 back in 1968, but it was 66.
Well, I mean, hey, D, I guess technically we're still in the same calendar year, so we're at 68 now with Hojlund and
There you go. So 68. So maybe it is. Maybe it might be a little godsend. All of a sudden, maybe no more injuries occur. But we'll see in terms of what's going to occur with the team throughout the year. Is Ten Hag going to rotate his team? Like this past year, he didn't really rotate them in the matches that didn't really matter. And I mean by that, like the League Cup. Is it a nice cup?
Yeah.
It's sort of like a lot of the bigger teams, like unless you win it, you call it a Mickey Mouse Cup. So
yeah, exactly. I mean, most of the time, I remember years ago, especially when Fergie was there, it's like a lot of times he was playing academy kids or kids that were looking for call up and to get some first team experience or whatever, which I'm totally fine. I mean, I'm not knocking the competition, but I mean, as far as the pecking order of what's important, that's at the very bottom of importance.
Well, it's funny you say that, because I read a story, and I remember hearing it years ago, and I heard another one. I heard it again this week. It was Ferguson, and this is in relation to how he always rotated his squad and played younger players. He said he played in the League Cup, a match at Upton Park, and he played like a bunch of youngsters, a bunch of the reserves, and United were getting battered by West Ham 4-0. And there was about 10, 15 minutes left, and he said, I'll throw Wes Brown on. Wes Brown needs some fitness, needs to get some minutes under his belt. And he goes, what really annoyed me, I'm already getting completely battered
shellacked. Yeah.
by the West Ham fans who are notorious for their banter. So he goes, I'm sitting and getting that, and then all of a sudden Wes Brown standing at the halfway line about to come on, and he goes, what really got up me was their assistant manager, and he named him, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, said, they looked at Wes Brown saying, what are you going to do? No, you're going on. Well, almost to say like it's 4-0.
Yeah.
You're a defender. So Ferguson said, "No." He turned out. He was like, that really annoyed me to the point where like he made it a point. He goes, "You know what?" He went down there and he said, "We're going to come back to this place and we're going to relegate them." Or no, sorry, I mean, he didn't go back. He didn't go back to right. He goes, "You just have to come to. You had to come to Old Trafford at the end of the season."
Yeah.
And it was, I want to say it was a 2007, 2006, 2007 season, because I think it was when Tevez.
Yeah.
Tevez signed for United the next season, or I could be wrong, but it was back then. And he turned around and he said that. He goes, I remember thinking to myself, he goes, these bastards need to come to Old Trafford and we're going to relegate them. And he goes, all of a sudden, it's 30-something minutes in the match and we're down 2-0. He goes, oh, Jesus, there goes me being a man of my word. So he goes, and so at halftime, he goes, I threw it the whole playbook, threw it, the tactics, everything. I took off Patrice, I think he said Patrice Evra. I don't know if it was, so it was around when Patrice was playing, and he put Ryan Giggs left back, and United won 4-2, and he relegated West Ham.
Yeah.
So, but back then, like Ferguson knew, like he knew how to prioritize certain competitions. He knew what it meant to let players get rest, like you rightly so mentioned earlier. Ferguson understood that. That was his man management. Like Ferguson was almost ahead of the curve. Like you hear over here with the NBA, they talk about load management.
Yeah.
Players are playing. So Ferguson almost had that mentality for his club for the players back then. He had that load management, like giving the players rest, not prioritizing every competition. Because like when he does prioritize almost every competition, he knows he has a squad depth. Like he did in '99, he won the treble.
Yeah.
He was what? Maybe 8 inches away from won the treble in 2008 when Carrick and Explicable was at the match at Old Trafford against Portsmouth. Carrick somehow couldn't score from a yard out, and then Milan Baros tries to go around Krušak and gets and Ferdinand had to run him jumping nets, and we all know what happened. He buried the penalty. United lost 1-0. And then Portsmouth went on to win the FA Cup that year. United could have done it, but they didn't. It would have been the second treble. But Ferguson knew then that he had to have a squad depth. So we'll see with Ten Hag this season. He's got a decent amount of players, and I do agree with your mindset of bringing up some of the academy players as well, letting them play, or at least bringing them up in terms of training.
Well, training. I mean, I think even if they're not going to play regularly or whatever, but just being around the first team and seeing how they prepare and the mindset and all that stuff, I think that's all things that they should be exposed to. And if they are good enough, I mean, it's you integrate them in slowly, and I think that would be great. I mean, because we've already seen it. What Garnacho and Mano. So I mean, obviously, Ten Hag has a history of promoting the youngsters. So yeah, I think that would be really cool to see that.
No, exactly. And the one thing that he's done that I liked is I mentioned in the Rosenborg match that the goalkeeper kick.
Oh yeah.
Man, he was unbelievable in that match. It was almost embarrassing. It could have easily been 4-5, maybe even 6-0 if it wasn't for him. Like, I mean, the save, big man was staying. So he rightfully, Ten Hag, obviously, he sent him out on loan, so he's away on loan. And then young Hugo, the guy, I don't know if you've seen the Rangers match, but he scored the second. He took it really well off the crossbar and on. Almost on the crossbar, and he's way out on loan too. So I think Ten Hag has, sending those two out on loan, I agree with. I would have preferred to see Hugo stay, but with Zerke coming in, and obviously he wants to have Hojlund get a lot of minutes under his belt, and then put right with Sancho possibly staying, he might be able to put it
just probably wasn't realistic for him to break through, at least not this year.
Exactly. So I think maybe within the next year, Sancho might move on. Sancho could move on now. Anthony might move on. And it opens up more opportunities for the likes of Hugo to get pushed on, because he might put Zerke out out wide. He might I might play him left wing, he might play him right wing. Geez, for all we know, Rashford could move on, unless he really kicks into the season. So far, what I've seen in preseason, he showed glimpses, but he's still not the Rashford that we know he can be.
I mean, I guess I don't want to look into it too much because it's just preseason. But yeah, I mean, he hasn't really looked he hasn't looked great. I mean, I wouldn't say he's looked bad, but he hasn't looked like he's ready to knock in 30 goals for us this year.
No, exactly. So, and I think maybe that was another reason why they signed Xerxes, because they were saying like, okay, no, Rashford being left wing, Garnacho, is definitely a good starter. Did they really want to put all that weight and pressure on Rashford? Maybe Rashford thought maybe they brought in Xerxes to sort of have that route. They sort of really push Rashford now. You have somebody coming in now competing for your spot. Before, Rashford would have been the first, even despite playing absolutely just horribly last season. He was still starting a lot of matches. He rarely got dropped. The only time he got dropped was when he did this little Belfast tequila escapade. And but other than that, and then he must train. I think he was late for training or something. He showed up late for training.
Yeah, it was a few things.
It was all the only times he was dropped was for off-field problems. That's what I'm trying to say. So when it comes to football reasons, Rashford would never drop. So maybe bringing Xerxes in might be that little catalyst that kickstarts Rashford back into where he needs to be, because
it might
somebody breathing down his neck for the starting. Because if Hojlund's back by the start of the season with putting his hamstring injury behind him, then Hojlund's going to start up front. I would hope to say Rashford starts left wing, right?
Yeah.
More likely going to be a Garnacho.
I would say, you'll have Bruno there, obviously. And then I would say, probably I would like to see Mano or Casemiro, I guess.
Well, it all depends too if Ugarte, if he doesn't come on.
I think it would be. In a perfect world, I would like to see Ugarte and I guess like a Mano or something. But I don't know if that's going to happen. I guess that's kind of a good segue into getting into some transfers or whatever. But I would love to see him, because we need a defensive midfielder. I can't really figure out what's going on with Casemiro either. He's been with the team, all preseason. You hear different, rumors or whatever, but it doesn't really sound like anything is concrete, No,
it doesn't. No, so with Ugarte, the last I heard was, and you and I talked about this online, like it seems that, he was away in the Copa America. He's probably on holidays at the minute. They've agreed personal terms with him. So I'm not sure if both PSG and United said, listen, you've agreed personal terms with him. That's a big point. Let's just let him enjoy his holiday, and then when he comes back,
we'll really get down to business.
Yeah, PSG can say, we'll tell him what we want from him. Like we if we want him to stay or go, and then we can then start really hashing out the negotiations of what who you want there. Like I would love if they turned around and said, listen, can we not just do a straight swap for Casemiro and Ugarte? Like PSG sort of.
Yeah.
I think the French league would be perfect for Casemiro. Like Verratti went there, and before he went to Saudi Arabia and played really well. But again, PSG also have Fabian Ruiz as well playing number 8 for them. So I don't know if they're going to have
two. Yeah.
So, but right now it seems like it's just sort of it's stagnant. Like with that, it's almost like
there's nothing really happening. On either front, Ugarte or Casemiro. I'm not really hearing anything. I hope you're right, because I would like to see him, see us bring him in. I think he would be a big addition to that midfield, which obviously we definitely need. Man, who the hell know? Who knows though? Maybe Casemiro figures it out though. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm not disagreeing with you that at all.
Yeah. So like, for example, like I remember somebody was arguing the other day. I can't remember who it was, but they were arguing about saying how that Casemiro's legs might be gone, but United still need him, because like look at Toni Kroos and Luka Modric at Real Madrid. Like their legs aren't the same, but here's the difference, man. Real Madrid have people like Valverde sprinting around the place. They have Camavinga sprinting around
Yeah,
the place.
yeah,
No, I'm gonna butcher his name, but it's like Tuchemeni.
yeah, yeah,
In
yeah.
France. Like
Hmm.
they're all young. They're all like 21,
They're all
22.
young
Like,
kids.
and
Yeah,
they're able to do it.
yeah. They
Like
got, but Energizer Bunny. They just keep
yeah.
going.
So they don't expect Toni Kroos and like Luka Modric to do the dirty work. They let them do the dirty work, and it's like I can't remember who said it, but said that there's two types of players in the world, and there's piano movers, and then there's piano players. So like the piano movers,
yes,
are like the
they're the
Camavingas
one.
and the Valverdes.
Yeah, they're putting in the grunt work.
Exactly. With the piano players are the likes of
Mm-hmm.
Toni Kroos, Luka Modric, all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
So, I'm not putting Casemiro in there and Toni Kroos and Luka Modric is no arena, but I'm just explaining like they're very like just Casemiro's legs seem to
Yeah. No, I understand what you're saying, and it's a valid point. I based off of what we've seen, it seemed like it really dropped off as far as just his age, and it seems like it's definitely he's in the back nine of his career. I would say this or say that
exactly. So like a lot of people can blame Ten Hag's tactics of exploiting his lack of pace, and that's why United's midfield gets run through. But with United, we mentioned it before, United need a very mobile centre defensive midfielder, like the way Declan Rice does it at Arsenal. A lot of times he's left on himself on an island, and he's able to just do the work because he does have that engine, he does have the speed, the athleticism to get from point A to point B, and it allows Odegaard to go on and do his thing. So I would hope that we can get into Ugarte, but from what I'm hearing too, there's rumors that United already have a plan B in place with he's a young he's 25-year-old Real Sociedad midfielder Martin.
Oh yeah,
Zubimendi.
I believe that. Yeah.
So he plays hold midfielder. He's supposed to be a great player. Like a lot of people touted him to be like plays this role very similar to Rodri does for Man City.
Mm-hmm.
His release clause is somewhere between it's around 60 million, and United are talking about doing triggering that release clause if Ugarte does not.
If it doesn't, yeah.
And the rumors are that United are going to go ahead and just pivot and go towards another player.
Well, I mean, you can, I guess, put all your eggs in one. Yeah, sure. In an ideal, perfect world, would it be fantastic to have sign Ugarte? But I mean, if it doesn't happen, I mean, yeah, they definitely need to bring somebody in. Because we definitely need a midfield player desperately.
Yeah, no, a midfield player that can complement Manu and complement I love Christian Eriksen, but I don't think he's not the solution. Scott McTominay, he's he's not the solution either.
Yeah, I saw, I can't remember who it was. There were rumors that he's getting pretty close to a deal with somebody. I can't remember who it was.
I remember seeing West Ham were supposed to be in for Scott for like 20 million. But no, he's out. He's playing in the preseason right now. He's been at training with the team, but I haven't really seen any other concrete rumors, any concrete headlines that says he's on his way out. But with I don't know, with all the other transfer rumors I have going on, like we mentioned there, good old Matthias de Ligt.
Mm-hmm.
From what I've heard now is that again that United agree personal terms with the player. He's interested in coming to United, and he's interested in the project of playing the opportunity and the project of playing under Ten Hag once again, like he did back in his Ajax days.
Yep.
But again, it seems to be the two clubs, or the clubs just can't agree with on price. And is this a repercussion of past transfer dealings that United are facing the consequences for? Like, is it the fact that United always seem to overpay for players, so now teams are like really digging their heels and saying, well, we set a price and we want you to match it. So what I'm hearing with the Ligt is there's 50 million is what they want, 50 to 55. United are trying to get to the 50 million point, but they're trying to put a lump sum fee of around 30, 35 with add-ons of appearances, because everyone knows the Ligt, he's injury prone. So I think United are trying to protect themselves in that aspect by saying, listen, we're not going to pay 50 million for someone that no, it has a history of injuries. What we can do is we can give you, say 65% of that, and then the other 35% is going to come in installments of add-ons and performance.
Yeah,
performance.
performance metrics and different things like that.
Exactly. So if he plays, say, 25 matches this season for United, or he doesn't miss a certain amount of matches through injury, that triggers the add-on that then United owes Bayern Munich the 15.
Yeah.
So, but no, you and I talked last night about a few things that the only thing it might be a wrench in the gears because Bayern Munich just signed they signed a brand new center back Hiroki.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that's a center back that they were.
Yeah, they might not be. Yeah, they might not be looking to make that move now.
Exactly. So they might turn around and say, "Wait a minute, like we might not. We might actually need him.
Yeah,
we start, but we need him for.
But we need. Yeah, we need him. Yeah, exactly.
So and with United too, negotiating with was it Nusser?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Or Mazri, I think his name.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna butcher that last name. I know that.
I've heard of it. Just I can't like for some reason just I can't phonetically say it.
Yeah.
But, they agreed personal terms with him as well. So there's two players with Bayern Munich that they both agreed terms with. Both of them obviously aren't starters there, which I think is interesting because usually United seem to always want to go after players who are pushing the boundaries of being world class. But again, they're neither one of them started for Bayern Munich last season. They played I think De Ligt played in that match, that semi-final match against Real Madrid.
Yeah.
So because he was one of the more vocal players about the offside goal because he was the one who scored it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, a lot of rumors going around.
I mean that's where you get especially this time of year. You just never really know. You hear a lot of things. What is what, it's just like a revolving door of transfer rumors. I mean, I'm sure as we I would say maybe as we get closer to the actual first match, I'm sure, or hopefully some things will, move. But, I mean, I probably just kind of in a holding pattern for right now as far as that. I mean, it kind of sucks because it's just like you want the new shiny toy basically, and you want to get excited about that. I don't know about you, but I always, especially like when one of my teams brings in a new player, I'm always excited. I want to watch them and see how they play or whatever, and then you get excited about them. Then they turn out to be terrible or whatever, and the guy's been there for like a month, and you're ready to write him off or whatever. It's like the emotional roller coaster, man.
Oh, exactly. I remember whenever United signed Patrice Evra and Nemanja Vidic. In the January transfer window. I think Patrice Evra came in from Monaco, and I think Big Vidic came in from, I want to say, was it Spartak?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. So no, like they were two. Like they both came in for single digits. When I say single digits, I think like 7 or 8 each kind of thing.
Which is kind of bizarre, right? In today's game.
I could be wrong. Maybe Vidic came in for 15. No, that was his number.
Yeah.
I know. It was definitely there was.
Even if it's 15, I mean, Jesus, what do you think he would be? That he would get right now? My God.
Oh no, I know that, but I remember back in January, and I remember thinking I remember watching Patrice Evra. Patrice Evra played left wing for Monaco when they went that Champions League run, and never unfortunately lost to Porto. Good old Jose Mourinho's Porto in 2004.
Yep.
And they joined United. I think it was the following January, and he came in, and both him and Vidic got absolutely butchered by the British media. Like for that 6 months, or 5 months they played from January. Everyone thought like Ferguson. No, there's a reason why they were only cost this much. They're not good. They're not the players.
They're not. Yep.
And all of a sudden, then like they were give it a season, and they were like the first names on the team sheet. So I agree with you. I'm looking forward to seeing some of these players. I'm glad that United got some of the deals done early, because over the last few years, it's always been the players. That
Well,
seem to be
yeah,
there,
it's been,
they
yeah,
overpay
it's
for them.
like, yeah, overpay for him, and it's like right before the season start, and
Yeah,
you start the season, and you haven't really had a chance to integrate him into the team, and get acclimated, learn the tactics of the manager, and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I was gonna say, Euro, but well,
well,
we all know how that stories go, but. Yeah, at least we've got like a Xerxes or whatever.
yeah. Well, I still, I said this before to a few. I remember having a couple of chats with other United fans, and my father, for example, I remember saying that I think one of the biggest problems at United this summer, um, was the whole dragged out soap opera drama that was the Ten Hag, is he staying or is he not going?
Oh yeah, yeah.
For like two
I
weeks, for
Yep,
two almost
yep.
3 weeks, we had to wait
I,
in
I
limbo if he was going to
agree.
stay.
Yep.
So why
I
didn't
think it was Harry Maguire recently in the preseason store. I think he was talking with Sam, and he was saying that was a major distraction.
Yeah, I read that too.
Leading up to the FA Cup final and all
Yeah.
that. I'm almost positive it was Harry Maguire who said that.
No, he did. I remember I read the same article. He said it was like, he goes, I'd be sitting here lying if I didn't say it was a distraction. Like some of the players that obviously, we want to play for the manager, and then they're hearing that he's going to be gone because of lack of performance and lack of results. But I think that's 2 to 3 weeks that United lost in the transfer window. And what I mean by that is that instead of turning around and talking with, Tuchel or Pochettino or, even
Mm-hmm.
Ruud Southgate, if they did
Yep.
turn around and said, listen, we're going to keep him. No, he's staying.
Yep.
We're going to honor his contract. We're actually going to give him an
Exactly.
extension on his contract. They could have then sat down for those 2 or 3 weeks and say, all right, fellas, let's get a head start in the season.
Yeah,
Before the Euro
exactly.
start.
Because
That's earmarked.
because none of those players are going to want to deal with contracts going through the Euros, and
Exactly.
100. They could have had 2 weeks, and who knows? They might have had a Euro and a Xerxes deal. They might have had that done earlier, or whoever else. You never know, man. I agree. We did lose out 2 weeks on that, and that's
Yeah.
super frustrating.
Yeah, because we talked about it in a previous podcast that Ineos group had to go meet with Ten Hag on his holiday, and granted,
Mm-hmm.
Ten Hag did go on a holiday right after the FA Cup. And rightfully so. Everyone's entitled to some good old TLC and some PTO, but
Mm-hmm.
I think if they were to turn around and tell him right after the FA Cup saying, "Dwight, congratulations, great job. We have no interest whatsoever bringing anyone else in. We think you're the man for the job. You've delivered another major trophy. Now what we want to do is we want to sit down before we go on holiday. Let's just do a review of the
Yeah,
season.
let's do a quick, 2-3 days or however long, nothing
Yeah,
crazy. Quick season review, and let's iron out some targets.
exactly. It's iron at the top because that was the whole thing Ineos group bragged about, where they were going to go ahead and they were going to give him 3 targets per position. Remember that
Mm-hmm.
they said they were going to give him 3, and he had to choose his favorite option of those 3. I'm not seeing it. So no, for centre back, for example. So the centre back, his options were De Ligt and Euro. So did they give them those? Or did Jason Wilcox and his infinite wisdom from Southampton
Yeah.
days give them that? Or was that Ten Hag that went ahead and like Euro? Or was it influence from Sir Radcliffe? He owns
Yeah.
Nice, and I'm sure he's went to a couple of matches. He probably heard some rumblings about Euro.
I wouldn't. That wouldn't surprise me. Having that, affiliation or
Influence.
familiarity with League One team, that I'm sure there was probably someone that said, "Hey, Jim, take a look at this Lenny kid. He might be the real deal."
Exactly. So no, I'm not really. We literally dissected that Ineos plan in the
Mm-hmm.
previous podcast, and I haven't seen it really go into fruition the way they explained it was going to happen. The new CEO Omar was going to come in and say, "Oh,
Mm-hmm.
fans are going to get more transparency. We're going to get more transparency. Fans
Yep.
are going to get more visibility. Voices are going to be heard, and so forth." Like right now, I get it. We're preseason, but as a United fan, we've went through a lull period since 2013. Like we haven't won the league. We haven't even got close to winning the Champions League. We won
No.
the FA Cup and League Cup. That's right.
Yep.
We've won the Europa League under Jose Mourinho. We got the final
Yep.
with Solskjaer. But
Yep.
to be like the best way I could describe United right now is the same way Liverpool were in the 90s and 2000s, where like they weren't getting really close to the win the
Yeah,
league,
they were yeah, they were always right on the cusp of,
yeah,
you know.
they popped up with
Mhm.
an FA Cup or a League Cup, like under
Mhm.
Gerard Houllier. They won the UEFA Cup and beat
Mhm.
Deportivo
Kind of like a gnat or
Mallorca and
mosquito. They're
Alaves.
like, you know, they're not regularly winning or whatever, but occasionally they get you good.
Exactly, and that's seriously what I feel like United are right now. They're going through that lull period where like Liverpool did after the success of the 80s. They went through the 90s of
Mhm.
not really challenging. They won a
Yeah.
couple of FA Cups, couple of League Cups. They won the Champions League then in
Champions League.
2005,
Yep.
and then they got back to the final again in 2007, lost to AC Milan. But then they challenged United. They got close to it, but they were challenging United in the 2008 season when Torres was supposed to had Vidic in his back pocket the whole time,
Mhm.
but only scored 3 goals in his career against them. But that's where United are right now, and it was just I'm hoping now that United can go ahead and implement. Like the Ineos group have come up with a good plan. No, I want to see the plan integrated.
Yeah, no, I like the plan. I guess cautiously optimistic, I guess. I want to see it. I want to see the plan fully implemented. I mean, I know it's obvious. It's still early days. Rome, wasn't built in a day. But yeah, I mean, so far it's off for a slow start, and to go back what we were just talking about. I mean, I do feel like they definitely dragged the foot, and they cost us in this transfer window, by not making a decisive decision on Ten Hag's future after that FA Cup.
Yeah, no, exactly. Because like, every manager they looked at, every manager was rumored has a completely different like philosophy, different tactics,
Yeah,
different
yeah.
formations.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, every manager would have different targets, transfer
Exactly.
targets.
Well, yeah. I mean, and probably they might not have liked, who's currently on the roster. You're basically taking a chopping block to the whole thing. Which I mean, I guess not. I mean, I'm talking about it out loud. I'm not, totally opposed. I mean, going into this season or the end of this season, we were only talking about basically keeping 3 or 4 players. But I mean, yeah. I mean, you already knew what you had. You had a season where you had success. He, salvaged the season this past season with the FA Cup, and it's almost kind of telling too, because if you think about it, especially like Pochettino and stuff is like, why aren't some of these guys really getting calls, or why what's going on there?
No, exactly. So yeah, we'll see. It's just one of those situations where, like you rightly said, Rome wasn't built in a day. I'm not expecting overnight success. But the Ineos group didn't exactly get off to the right start in terms of really, solidifying the.
Yeah, they definitely didn't. I would say they did not set up this transfer window for the best opportunity to be successful.
Exactly, yeah. So like this is like they didn't solidify their plan in terms of like, and they didn't endure themselves to the fans.
It's almost like they were afraid to make a decision.
I think it was one. I don't think they were ever afraid of making a decision. I think I hate to say it, but I think that some of the managers were just looking at the United project and were thinking, "Nah, I'm good." Like,
I mean, that very well could. I mean, because it is a very, yeah, it would be a very extensive rebuild. Yeah.
Yeah. No, exactly. Like, no, good old Ralph Ragnick came out
Yeah.
and said that they needed open heart surgery, and it's evident they did, and he moved on and he did a great job with Austria, but it just proves that there's previous managers and previous people at the club that did say what the wrongs were, and they were just being ignored.
Yeah. So you kind of look back and be like, I guess they had the last laugh, because ultimately, everything they were saying was spot on.
Yeah, exactly. So it's now Ineos's dumpster fire to actually make it. So we'll see. We'll have to wait and see. But
yeah,
so far,
you never know, man. I even dumpster fire. Speaking of dumpster fire, the Glazers. I heard Avron showed up to SoFi the other night. It's nice of him to make an appearance.
Oh, he decided to leave the.
Apparently, yeah, he was at the match, I guess. Not that I really care, but I mean, I guess he decided to do it because, he wouldn't get just absolutely destroyed if he was at Old Trafford.
Nah, exactly. He was more in his element here. Where
Yes.
you probably had copious amount of private security to around him. Where Old Trafford, I don't think you could have an entire army in front of you. I don't think it really mattered because he's not really well liked in that part of the world, and rightfully so.
Nope.
So
Nope.
yeah, it's just one of those situations we'll have to deal with.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're over an hour in. I think, we covered just about everything we want to wrapped in tonight's show. I guess a little deep tease for the next pod. Obviously, we both want to get into, basically the rumors and different things for the new stadium, the new Wembley of the North is how it's being phrased. Yep. So we will definitely be back next week to cover that. D, before we sign off, give your social a plug.
Yeah, it's good old dc.mcguigan on Instagram.
And I am at KeithIp86, and we appreciate you listening tonight. And again, tune in next week. We will have we'll go in a little bit about new stadium, and hopefully we have some new players next week. I don't know. I'm not that optimistic, but yep. Thanks for listening, guys, and we'll talk to you next week.